It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Thursday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, heading towards a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Thursday podcast, Hacksaw's Headlines. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, the Padre fan, John Riley, and we welcome you to our delayed Thursday podcast. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials. You're looking for ideas. DIXIELINE can be your best friend, your consultant. Just go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. We are here. The baseball season is over. We delayed the start of the podcast so we could all watch Padres-CUBS baseball. We did not have a podcast on Monday because technology is great, but if technology does not work, then you got yourselves a problem. We had technology problems. We've solved it. We're going to be here for the next hour plus. We invite you to be part of our Thursday podcast. Monday, we will be back with our regular schedule, Monday at 1:30. Baseball season is over for Padre baseball. Oh, what a letdown.
Yeah, it just finished a few moments ago, and yeah, I'm sure we're going to get into it in depth, but we're still kind of experiencing what it's like the season's over.
What a bummer. We're going to talk Major League Baseball. We're going to go a lot of different directions on this podcast over the next hour plus, as we always do. We do sports talk the way it should be done. We put a lot of topics on the table. We express opinions, and then we invite you to join us. We've never done a podcast at 5 p.m. West Coast time. Let's see how much reaction we get. And I think the telltale point will be not just the viewers on live stream and they're starting to pour in, but also how many people join us at the end when you get the chance to take over the podcast. It's called a fans forum. So, John, how does it work?
Yeah, so reaction. You got a comment about the Padres or, what's going on in Major League Baseball, maybe the NFL or college football this week. Drop your take in the live chat on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook. I already see XX Revolution and Brian and Callan and Daniel all in the house.
A couple of other reminders. I write about sports every day of the week. Have you ever checked my website? You really should. It's there first thing every morning. Just punch it up on the internet. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. You'll get the best 15 minutes in sports. You'll get my one man's opinion column. Want you to do that on a day-by-day basis. It's really comprehensive. If you love sports, be with me on social media. I want you to join the Twitter All-Star team on X. Just type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button. That way you'll get to participate in all of my Hacksaw mini polls on X. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays on this podcast. Want you to subscribe. When you subscribe, especially on the YouTube channel, you will get the alerts every time we put new things up on the YouTube channel. We do that 5 to 7 to 10 different times during the course of the week. And, of course, we also want you just to be involved. Tell everybody. You can help us a great deal by giving us a thumbs up. Follow us. Give us a 5-star rating. It really helps you. John, we're ready. Topic 1 has to be what just happened at Wrigley Field. Topic 1 has to be the Padres. Topic 1 has to be the big picture of what we've just experienced. A roller coaster of a ride in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a roller coaster season, a roller coaster series, and now it's vacation time for the Padres.
Nice headline. Tension-filled at Wrigleyville.
Totally.
Every one of these playoff games was right to the bitter end and the edge. Padres lost a gut-wrencher, 3-1 to the Cubs today. Yu Darvish. I wrote a one-man's opinion column this morning asking the question, can we get vintage Darvish in this most critical start of the season? It was not vintage Darvish. They banged the ball all over the yard. He had no location. They jumped on his fastball. He only faced 7 batters. They had to drag him off the mound in the second inning. I was a little bit surprised at Mike Schultz's handling. Maybe some will feel mishandling of the bullpen because he went to the bullpen awful early in each of these games, and it just kind of stunned me. Started today with Jeremiah Estrada. I really thought first guy out of the pen was going to be Michael King to give him length and give him innings. Might have been Randy Vasquez. Did not do that. And he used up his bullpen. He used up the currency in Game 1 and Game 2. He did not have enough currency really in Game 3. And, of course, Robert Suarez gives up a home run late in the game, which kind of hurt the whole process. King pitched very well, had 3 strikeouts in his lone inning. Suarez gave up the bomb. Estrada walked 1 run in, but for the most part hung in there through his 2 innings. I really thought Schultz totally came out of character with the use, or maybe it's misuse, of the bullpen in these 3 games. I mean, to go to Mason Miller as early as he did in Game 1 and go to Miller and Morion as early as he did there and then use these guys 3 times, I didn't quite understand it. We'll also talk about who did not play well. The most expensive players on the roster did not hit at crunch time. Tatis 1 for 12 in the series. Arise 2 for 11 in the series. Machado 1 for 10 in the series, though he did have the big swing home run. Cronenworth 0 for 10. It really let them down. And the Cubs, 1 good game, 1 game in which they got blanked, came out hitting today. I made a note early this morning. If the Cubs were going to win this game, the guys who did not hit in the series, who hit during the year, had to hit. Happ, Tucker, Peter Crow Armstrong, Bush. They all did. They all had big hits today. And Pittsburgh had to burn through their bullpen to get the victory today. And it was pretty tense at Wrigley Field in the 9th inning because that bullpen was starting to come around and kind of get out of sorts.
Wait, did you just say Pittsburgh?
No.
I think you got it crisscrossed in our conversation with Keller.
Oh, Brad Keller. So at the end of the day, the Cubs bats got it done in Game 3. The Padre bats did not hit at all during the course of the series. And that, to me, is really heartbreaking. So before I get into overall big picture analysis, give me your reaction. You were sitting there tension-filled, too. Today's outcome, a 3-1 Cubs win over the Padres.
This is like the whole game everything was going the Cubs' way. You know, they got the calls, they made the miraculous defensive plays, they got the clutch hits, and the Padres would never seem to get anything going. So in the end here, it's a disappointing end of the year. I don't really blame the pitching. We could second guess the way he used the bullpen, but the hitters really let us down.
And how about the Cubs double play combination? Dansby Swanson had 5 huge defensive plays in the series.
Yeah.
And then Nico Horner snuffed out a rally with a leaping catch.
Yes, exactly.
Prevented the Padres from putting men on base and maybe getting something going. The Cubs really played well. Cubs had not played that well in this whole series, but in this game, it really came together.
Yeah. Nico Horner. They were chanting his name.
How disappointed are you in Tatis, Machado, Arise, and Jake?
Well, I don't know. You know, when I look at Tatis, he didn't look like his head was in the game today. You know, even in some of the previous games, he was like swinging at everything. I think he struck out 3 times on 9 swings and only saw 9 pitches. So I just wonder what's going on in his head. I know one of the guys in Padre Twitter who I really like, Mickey Koch, he was saying that he was questioning Tatis's approach at the plate. You know, what's his identity? Is he a home run hitter? Is he a Ricky Henderson, I'm going to get on base kind of guy? Is he trying to go with the pitch and play, you know, sort of Petco Park ball? I think Tatis's head isn't really aligned right. Do
you know, collectively, those 4 guys, their stars went 4 for 43 in the series, collectively.
Yeah, that ain't getting it done.
Yeah. Do you agree or disagree with me that Schultz really came out of character, reaching for the bullpen as early as he did, and the guys he reached for? I mean, that one game, he had to get 15 outs in the bullpen because he went very early with Morion, and he got the 15 outs, but they spent so many bullets, it wasn't the same after that.
Well, that's game 2, right?
Yes.
And that was the one where Cease was surprisingly good.
And they pulled him.
But yeah, because it was just odd circumstances, and Cease seemed to be understanding the situation. But to me, this is postseason, all hands on deck, and I kind of wonder, if the analytics nerds for the Padres were feeding Schilt some information, like why did you bring in Estrada, today as your number 2 guy when we all thought King was the piggyback
Or Vasquez, or both, because you needed length.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but I don't fault the pitching. I don't fault the pitching decisions. The blame is on the hitters. That's where the problem is.
Okay, we're inviting Padre fans, baseball fans. You can dive in right now. Fans Forum chat box is open for business. We've given you some impressions, our impressions of what happened today. Padre season is over. All right, let me ask you this question, John Riley. In the big picture of things, how do you describe this season, aside from the generic term roller coaster?
Mm-hmm.
I projected when we came out of the Cactus League in spring training that they were going to win 87 games. They won 90. So I guess part of me says that's an accomplishment considering how messy the starting pitching was beyond Pivetta. 90 wins is 90 wins. However, against teams in the pennant race on the road, the Padres' composite record, 11-26.
Oh, wow.
Not good.
No.
So, were they a really good team that won 90, or were they a team that just beat up on the real crap teams? Because they surely didn't present much of a challenge against the upper echelon teams in the National League, especially on the road. And what was the difference? If this freaking series had been at Petco Park, they might have won it because of the emotion of the fans, the community, and how well they play at home. So, I guess I asked the question, do you view this successful season, 90 wins, record 3.43 million fans? Do you view it as a missed opportunity because you didn't get home field advantage, which I think would have made a big difference? And in the bigger picture of things, host says window opportunity, World Series getting closer
you keep doing
to
that.
Closing. Might it have closed? Why? All these pitchers have health issues. Some of these pitchers have free agent contract issues. Keep that in mind. Is it underachievement? Was it a choke job? And here's the other question. We have now had 11 years of doing it the way A.J. Preller does it. And outside of the electricity at Petco Park, and outside of the one season where they beat the Dodgers in the playoffs, my lasting memory is disappointment. Failing in 21, failing in 23, choking in 24 against the Dodgers, and now this outcome here in 25. Now, at the end of the day, I am of the opinion A.J. Preller made baseball special downtown on the Gaslamp Quarter. But my other heart says it's been a disappointment. Across the board, despite the money spent, despite all the players traded away, we're going on vacation the first week of October. We haven't been to a World Series yet. So I've thrown my guts out here on the table. Give me your response to the big picture. Was it successful, 90 wins? Is it an underachievement because we're back where we were last year? They didn't get it done again. Did they choke not getting it done? Your reaction?
I mean, for me as a fan, is especially right now, man, that wound still hurts, man.
Raw.
It's raw. So, yeah, of course I'm disappointed. I mean, you know, this team has talent. This team has potentially multiple Hall of Fame players on the team. They should be doing a lot better. But, you know, last year really hurt. Last year was a punch in the nose. This year was kind of like, you know, this is so San Diego.
It's struggle.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, and I don't blame Preller. I mean, Preller is doing everything he can, short of pulling rabbits out of his hat. You know, he's the most aggressive GM in baseball. I don't necessarily blame him. It's just that some of our guys, they just don't have the magic dust, like when it comes to these high-profile events. So, but, if you want to talk about perspective and big picture, if you really step back, this is still a pretty solid era of Padre baseball, playoffs for the last 6 years, 2 90-win seasons in a row. So there's a lot to be confident about. I'm proud of the team. I'm proud to be a Padre fan, but damn it, this is the San Diego sports curse bites us again.
But at the end of the day, this will not be the same team next year because all these guys who can walk as free agents, and the whole world knows agents take pitchers out into the free agent market across the board.
Well, do you have the list of the free agents? I know
I don't have them off the top of my head. Cease.
Yeah.
King.
Yeah.
Suarez.
Yeah.
Arise.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other guys that are on one-year deals like Sheets and Iglesias. And, we may be back to Fernando and Manny and like a bunch of minor leaguers.
Okay. Those are our opinions. It's kind of raw in here tonight. How do you feel? How do you describe this? I mean, it's been a great era of Padre baseball, this quadrant, all these wins, the electricity at Petco Park, the all-time record crowds. By the way, they raised your prices 57% in 5 years.
Well, at least they're spending money on the product, at least.
Have you been to World Series yet? So at the end of the day, you tell me, satisfied with the product? Did they underachieve again? Second year in a row. Last I checked, he and I have not yet been to a World Series game at Petco Park with this ownership group.
Yeah.
I just find it.
Yeah.
To me, what a letdown. That's all I can say.
You live in San Diego, you live in America's finest city, you got to take the good with the bad. And to be a sports fan in San Diego is so challenging. And it's not just Padres, it's everything. So, spring training is going to be in 5 months or so. And now we got the NFL to look forward to, Lee.
Okay. That's all things Padres. The fans forum chat box is open. Fill it up with expressions, opinions. Let us know what you've got to say. That's the season over for the Padres. The season goes on for Dodger Blue.
For Dodger Blue and a lot of other teams here. Let's get them up on the big board.
Yeah, let's talk about the other series. The Dodgers slugged their way through Cincinnati. I mean, they ran through them, ran over them. They got some brilliant pitching from a couple of guys that got told, go to the bullpen, get the job done. Cincinnati Reds are really overmatched. Dodgers' Mookie Betts had 4 hits last night. Betts is hot. Ohtani is hot. Max Muncy got hot. Pretty good ball club right now. Playing better baseball now than they played for a whole chunk of time. However, bullpen remains to be a disaster. However, Roki Sasaki will be the closer going to Philadelphia for the National League Divisional Series. He's never done it before. He's never pitched in Philadelphia. Ohtani is going to be the Game 1 starter on Saturday. He's never pitched in Philadelphia. Citizens Bank bandbox.
Yeah, that's right.
Phillies do hit home runs. It might be home run derby there. You sit there and you look into the face of Dave Roberts as he trudges reliever after reliever out there, and they give it up, and they put guys on base, and they give up hits, give up home runs. Luckily, he pushed the button, and Sasaki came in, and he went 1, 2, 3, clocked at 100 miles an hour. He finally got the save in the clinching game against the Cincinnati Reds. It's a really good team. It appears, they haven't formally said it, but I was told it appears that Tanner Scott and Roki Sasaki will be the 2 closers. Not that they trust Scott, but they think Scott is more experienced in the pressure situation that is Philadelphia than Sasaki is, although Sasaki's cracking it at 100 miles an hour. But the Dodger rotation, it's got Arrested Glass now. It's got Ohtani. Obviously, it's got Yamamoto. And you got Blake Snell, who right now is pitching maybe as good a baseball in his life and his career. John? Go ahead. Talk about Pantone 286.
Pantone, Tanner Scott's a lefty too, so they have two lefties, but Tanner Scott has no confidence at all But still, even in spite of all of it, the Dodgers are going to win. They blew through the Reds. I was watching the game with my wife last night. I was saying, man, this felt like the National League West in the mid-'70s. Yeah. It was always the Reds and the Dodgers were the two dominant teams in the division.
Yeah, but there was no George Foster there.
Well, yeah, or Johnny Bench, or, all those guys, Bronce and Garvey. But at any rate, the Dodgers are doing what we expect the Dodgers to do. The Reds... it was fun that they knocked the Mets out. Mets Frank, who's always on social media, has just been going ballistic all week. But they didn't really belong in the playoffs. Even the manager, Francona, said, we're not a complete team. Right. And so, okay, I got you. Someone else on Twitter posted, I think it was the DSG, said the thought of Ellie De La Cruz is much better than the actual Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah, he's up and down.
Yeah, so the Mets will be an upcoming team, but the Dodgers are right where we expected them to be, and they're going to go to Philly, and it's going to be high drama.
Home run derby.
But I'll bet you the Dodgers are going to keep on rocking. They're peaking.
Dodger fans, you're invited to be part of this podcast up and down the West Coast. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. Next playoff series, Yankees, Boston Red Sox. Now, they are just underway. It's really interesting, though. Both these managers have taken so much heat. In Boston, they're furious that Alex Cora has to start a raw rookie in the rotation. But that's because he just lost Lucas Giolito with an elbow injury last week. So they're really down. And the Yankees are starting a raw rookie because they've used up their pitching staff. And the Yankee bullpen is as bad as the Dodger bullpen is right now. And there are not a lot of people that like Aaron Boone and some of the stuff that's going on. Now, that being said, Yankees live and die off home run derby. And obviously with Judge and Stanton, who's just has had a really good month of September, and Trent Grisham, who's hitting home runs, and Bellinger, who's playing really well in the pressure cooker that is the New York market. Yankees look to me to have way too many bats. Detroit eliminated Cleveland today. I can't feel great about either one of these teams. The Tigers backed into this thing. At one point, they were 8-21 in the month of September, and yet they still got to the playoffs. Cleveland earned its way in by nickel and diamond with their batting order. But Cleveland got to postseason, John, with a team batting average of 223. 223.
Really?
Yeah. They put the ball in play, and they string together some singles, and then occasionally Jose Ramirez pops a home run. Young pitching, Tanner Beebe and those guys hung in there, but they wound up losing today. So I felt bad for the my Indians, their Guardians. They did get to the playoffs, so hats off to them. So you want to talk about the other series in the American League?
Usually the Yankees-Red Sox is a really big thing, but it doesn't feel like as big of a thing on the West Coast anymore, because we've got Dodgers, Padres, and other things going on. So I don't know. I might look at these other series. Yankees, Red Sox, Detroit Guardians. I'm like, I know other parts of the nation, that's very important for them, but going into these playoffs, I'm looking for teams like the Mariners or even, the Padres are out, even the Brewers, to have that magic run for one of the expansion franchises. Some of these other guys, classic teams, but let's get some new blood.
New blood shows up this weekend when we move to the AL-NL Divisional Series. You're a baseball fan? Fans Forum chat box is open. Jump on board. We're not done. Next topic on the table, I guess you call it Black Monday. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, a lot of guys got their pink slips.
Yeah, let's just talk about what's happened in Major League Baseball. A little bit surprised at this outcome. Bruce Bochy steps away from the Texas Rangers. It was mutual between he and Chris Young. I was told two things in play here. Rangers ownership is going to pare the payroll. They've spent a volume of money over the last 4 to 5 years. Bochy won a ring with them the first year. Last 2 years, they missed the playoffs. The other thing is they've got some chemistry problems, a lot of passive people in that Ranger clubhouse. They felt they needed a little bit of a different leader than a 73-year-old Bruce Bochy. They've offered him a front office job. At this point, he has not responded. Boch is gone from Texas. Hot name, Skip Schumacher, who's kind of a firebrand. So that bears watching. In San Francisco, Bob Melvin is out. They had that really good first year. They've not done well the last two. Actually, they've not been in the playoffs, I think, in 6 seasons. And the insinuation, Bob Melvin lost the team. They went through 2 really horrid losing stretches where nobody stepped up and got the job done. They were 2-11 in one stretch, 3-13 in another, and completely fell out. Bob Melvin out. Buster Posey's going to conduct a search to go find a new manager. Rumor is he's going to reach outside the organization. I was told Schumacher could have an interview, might even have the job if he wants it. They're looking for a firebrand to replace Bob Melvin. Third one is what happened in Anaheim. This is kind of messy. They're kind of messy. There's a massive credibility problem with how they're doing their business at Angel Stadium. Ron Washington had an option to come back for a third year. They did not pick it up. He, of course, had done a nice job through a really rugged situation as they're trying to learn how to win with kids. The 99-loss season, they were playing almost 500 ball this year. He got very ill, quadruple heart bypass, very sick. They want a younger leader. What really bothers me, and I just don't understand this because I know this guy and I've interviewed this guy and I like this guy, Artie Moreno refused to meet with Ron Washington, and you're terminating him. You hired him, and you're terminating him. I find that really disenchanting. Where are they going to go? Everybody's of the opinion around Major League Baseball they're going to hire Albert Pujols. Does not have a lot of experience. Is he a man of stature? Hell yes. Hall of Famer? Yeah, probably so. A man of great credentials, definitely. But he's never managed before. But at the end of the day, unless there's new leadership in the front office, a.k.a. a new general manager, not Perry Manassian, Pujols won't win if this is the same group that they've had the last couple of years. They just force-fed all their kids. Now, they still don't have a lot of budget space because they still have Trout's contract around their neck, and they're still saddled by Anthony Rendon's contract for one more season. So that's a real tough situation. If not Pujols, other interesting name is Torrey Hunter. Held in high regard, good clubhouse guy. He's never managed anywhere. Never. So what are you doing here? What's the direction of the Angels? And from a credibility standpoint, you owned the team and you hired Ron Washington. You refused to meet with Ron Washington as you elect not to pick up the option. That to me looks really, really tacky. Minnesota, they fire Rocco Baldelli. Now, they won one playoff series in 7 years. He kind of brought some law and order, and they won early when he got there. But this is ownership that has traded their team away at the deadline August 1st and have been making statements about they're going to pare payroll. That looks like a hopeless situation in Minnesota because of the Pohlad family again. So Baldelli is out. Next one, Atlanta. Bit of a surprise. Brian Snitker decided to walk away. He's done a really great job. This year was tough. They never got out of spring training healthy. They had the horrid start. They came back and played really good baseball the final third of the season because they finally got Acuna, Michael Harris, all the injured guys back. They went through 71 players on the roster. They went through 40 pitchers this season in Atlanta.
Holy crap.
They lost the whole rotation.
Yeah.
Chris Sale. They had 5 different starting pitchers on the 60-day DL.
Wow.
But Snitker woke up and said, I elect not to do this anymore. Now, he's really regarded highly. He'd been with the organization 49 years. He was a catcher in the minor leagues and a manager and then a coach, and then he scouted. And his record was 8-11 and .668. That's pretty impressive. But Brian Snitker is leaving the Atlanta Braves. In Colorado, they've removed the general manager, Bill Schmidt. They should remove the owner, but that won't happen. Bill Schmidt fired. His record as general manager, I've never seen anything like this, and I've been covering this a long time. 231 wins, 415 losses in Colorado. That's on Bill Schmidt's resume.
That's like 33%.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So the question is, don't hire from within. Don't keep doing the same thing again. Best GM candidate out there, and there's a whole bunch of Ivy League guys that have now become hireable. You know, Theo Epstein started all this. Mm-hmm. I'd hire Mike Rizzo. If I'm the Angels, I'd hire Mike Rizzo. If I'm Colorado, I'd hire Mike Rizzo. Been there, done that. Small budget, bigger budget, great drafting track record. So Colorado got to make a change. Pittsburgh, they They're keeping Ben Cherington, the general manager. Unfortunately, they're keeping the owner, too, Robert Nutting. Cherington's record is 363 and 504. Now, Pittsburgh stockpiled a lot of really good pitching because they've had such high draft picks. They think they might turn the corner, but it's never going to get any better in Pittsburgh or in Colorado or in Minnesota unless you're going to spend more resources to go into the market to buy veteran players to complement all the kids you have. And as we get ready for the next round of the baseball playoffs, there's the Mets. $340 million that did not work out well. Byproduct of injuries. I am not going to say, I told you so. But I told you so the week we broke spring training, coming out of the Grapefruit Circuit. My biggest concern was they don't have any pitching. 5 starters and their closer, all on the DL for extended periods of time. Pitching betrayed them, and it does not matter that Soto hit 43 home runs or the Polar Bear hit 270 with a bunch of bombs or what Lindor did. They just didn't have enough pitching out of the playoffs. How shocking is that? They're not making changes. David Stern stays as general manager. They're not making a managerial change. Mendoza comes back. But that being said, Mets have got to go find arms because it's obvious they got a really, really good lineup. They just don't have pitching. So that's where we are. You want to comment on who's no longer employed? Go ahead.
There's a lot of interesting storylines there. This is always a brutal week, right after the season ends.
Black Monday.
In every sport. But I look at the Angels and I'm thinking, man, Pujols, that'd be kind of interesting as a manager, but what's your team identity? What's your philosophy, your strategy? What's the big picture? Who do you want to be? It's like they're guessing. The Dodgers, the Padres, say what you will about each team, they sort of have an identity. They kind of play ball a certain way. I don't know what the Angels are. And so you think that they would philosophically all get on the same place before they hire another manager. And by the way, not meeting with Ron Washington, when you dismiss him, it's like, that's weak. That's like breaking up with your girlfriend over a text message. That's just really soft. And I think it gives you an indication of Angels ownership. Like you were talking about Pittsburgh ownership and all the other problems. So, yeah, you need good ownership there. Artie needs to sell the team, and let's hit the refresh button.
I concur with you wholeheartedly. And your comment on Bochy, your comment on Melvin.
I love Boch, man. Boch, just obviously we love him in San Diego. And, he was here for Poway, and a good guy. And 4 World Series rings? That guy, I just can't wait for him to, hopefully he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he's not, he's going to be second or third, but hopefully he's a cinch. But he's 70, and what a nice way to go out because he had that relationship, with Chris Young, because of the days in the Padres. So it was probably like an elegant, kind of mutual sort of a parting of ways. I'm good with that. And then Melvin, a lot of Padre fans, especially on Padre Twitter, are like, see, we told you so. Melvin is not the Melvin that we all thought he was. So, yeah, now Buster Posey's got to make some big decisions.
Okay, that's all things baseball. We've done our job. We gave you opinions after we gave you the stories because we do sports talk the way it should be done. Jump into the rotation so we can get to you on Fans Forum when we're done. We're not done. We're going from baseball to all things NFL. Go ahead, John.
NFL, and here we're going to talk all AFC West, bad injuries, and big games.
Storylines around the National Football League. First of all, in the AFC West. They may be 3-1. They may have the star quarterback in Justin Herbert, but they are in trouble right now, talking about the Chargers. They lost to the Giants. How the hell do you lose to the Giants? You are lucky that we had technological problems on Monday. We could not get the podcast on. I was going to lose my mind on the Monday podcast. I probably would have lost my job doing this podcast if I had been on the air Monday. At the end of the day, all the problems that I've said they were going to have, I hate to tell you, I told you so. They got problems on the offensive front. They cannot protect the quarterback. They can't stop the run. I told you all that as the season was beginning. And now they're a mess. Because now not only have they lost Rashawn Slater, now they've lost Joe Alt. He's got a severe high ankle sprain. He's not been put on injured reserve yet, but he could be headed to injured reserve. Zion Johnson may have had the worst game at left guard that I've seen him have in his entire young career. Quarterback sacks, missed blocks, pressures, just terrible. They're now on their third left tackle. Their third left tackle, who came from the Houston Texans, gave up 6 pressures and took a bad penalty. Their right guard isn't playing very well. The right tackle, Trey Pipkins, gave up 3 pressures and took multiple penalties too. And we're only week 5 of the season. And by the way, I kept asking and kept saying, defensive tackle, I think they got problems. Cam Scatteraboo and those Giant running backs on the 0-3 Giants ran for 179 against the Chargers at the Meadowlands. They've just got massive problems. Do they have they got wide receivers? Yes. Those top 3 wide receivers have combined now for 31 catches.
Hell yeah.
But they can't protect the quarterback. Justin Herbert's been sacked 12 times already. He's been hit 47 times. He's going to wind up in a hospital. Omani Hampton, very impressive. Power back. Tell you what, he gets hit in the backfield, and he lays people out in the backfield so he can run for 5 or 8. And he's had a couple big runs, too. That's all on him. He's got no help. Chargers has got some significant player personnel problems right now, and unfortunately, injuries are part of the game. I was of the opinion that Joe Ortiz had done a really good job back-to-back drafts, but now you've lost all these people. So Bolts have got problems. Washington comes to town. Raiders don't have much of an offensive line, and now they don't have their best lineman. Colton Miller, left tackle, starter, 7 years, gone, fractured ankle. And he's the only piece of credibility they have in that offensive front. Ashton Genty had 139 yards rushing and finally a breakout game, had a couple of big runs along the way. Geno Smith, sacks, interceptions. Geno's taken 12 sacks already, just like Justin Herbert, and they've turned the ball over a lot. Raiders just seem to be going in the wrong direction. They don't have enough defense. Denver Broncos, took him a couple weeks. Bo Nix, I think he had mechanic problems. His footwork has looked really weird to me the first couple of games that I saw. I watched him extensively this past weekend. He settled in mechanically, threw for 346. Here comes Denver. They look like they've got it back together. And Kansas City finally won a game. Patrick Mahomes down the field. Mahomes has got a quarterback rating of 130. He's only turned it over 1 time, even though he's getting pressured, having a scramble, etc. But they did get Xavier Worthy, the speed guy, back. Tyquan Thornton is continuing to get better week by week, more targets. Kelsey's catching a few more passes, and they're still not running the ball worth a lick. At least Kansas City is sitting there with a better record than a lot of other people in the AFC. So that's where we are. Don't look at me strange just because I invoke the I told you so, but I told you so.
Well,
I know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, hacksaw. Okay, I'm still bumming about baseball, all right? I'm not ready to move on to the NFL, okay? Okay, let's just talk the NFL for a minute here. Okay, first of all, that Charger game was chargering. I mean, the Chargers lose to a rookie quarterback in his first NFL start.
And a rookie running back.
Yeah.
Without their top wide receiver at a season-ending knee injury.
Yes.
They lost to the 0-3 New York freaking Giants.
I was just so chargering. And, right now, okay, I'm still stuck on baseball. Dodger fans are probably going, yeah, see, we told you so. The Padres, the Chargers, the Clippers, we don't want any of them in L.A. They're all a bunch of losers.
The only thing that doesn't lose down here is the host.
The host, okay. You and your duck shirt over there. So, I don't know. The Chargers, losing all, that kills. I mean, I saw him, walking the sidelines at one of the practices. He had a boot on. Yeah. And so, I mean, that just stinks for them. The Raiders, we weren't really sure. You had them did you have them at dead last as in the AFC West when you made your predictions? You might have third
close,
or fourth,
but maybe a 500 team. But now they got injuries and they still got holes.
They still got holes, yeah. So
and now they don't have Colton Miller.
Yeah, I mean, so the Raiders are going sideways. The Broncos do look kind of interesting this year. And then it's weird when Mahomes and Lamar Jackson were both 1-2 and they were playing each other, but. It just goes to show you there. And that the Chiefs beating the Ravens in that game, the Ravens defense, man, it ain't what it used to be.
Injuries. A lot of them. Okay, that's the latest in the AFC West. Football fan, you Go ahead. Take a cheap shot. We won't throw a 15-yard penalty flag on you, but just barge in here and get on the Fans Forum chat box if you like teams in the AFC West. Last segment about the NFL Notebook. Go ahead, John.
Okay, the NFL Notebook and, the body bag report. What do you got, Lee?
Miami, this is catastrophic. Tyreek Hill, dislocated kneecap, tore 2 knee ligaments. Emergency surgery, gone for the year. It was a fluke injury, the way he got tackled on the sidelines. He's got so many personal problems, and now he's got a professional problem. You don't come back from dislocated kneecaps and 2 torn ligaments. Luckily, he did not damage nerves. He did not damage an artery. When you have dislocated kneecaps, that could lead to artery problems, which is life-threatening. They got in there real quick and did the surgery. They found all the other stuff intact, but this is a significant injury. Miami they're dead from a roster standpoint. Baltimore, you talked about, can't believe what you're seeing. They got 7 of their 11 defensive starters are out with injuries.
Wow.
Virtually the whole defensive line. Now they're losing him on the back end. They just lost Marlon Humphrey. He's re-injured a calf. They just can't stay on the field. Lamar Jackson's hurt. He's got a hamstring injury, and they think it might not be just this Sunday. It might be a little bit farther than that. So Baltimore, which historically has not had a lot of injury problems, Baltimore's really gone through a terrible siege first month of the season. In Cincinnati, I don't know if you saw the Bengal-Bronco game. Oh, my God. What a lopsided affair that was. Meltdown on the sidelines between Jamar Chase and the head coach, Zach Taylor. They got killed. In the last 2 games, they've been outscored 76-13. Their defense has given up 864 yards in the last 2 losses. This is all an aftermath of not just Joe Burrow getting hurt, but them not having enough players on either side of the football. Offensive line's terrible. Defense can't stop anybody. Hell, they might win 2 games this season if Burrow does not come back, and that's one of the rumblings out there that he might not come back. Cleveland, quarterback change.
Hey.
Joe Flacco sits. Did not play well. Doesn't have anybody around him. Did not play well. Dylan Gabriel is going to start the game against Minnesota in London. Early game on Sunday.
Cool.
So he will make his NFL start. Flacco's numbers were god-awful. He just got progressively worse every Sunday. And again, that's a byproduct of having no running game. His tackles are poor. 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a fumble, 9 sacks, 58% completion rating, and his quarterback rating was 60. Yeah. I mean, if you're not 90 in your quarterback rating, you're playing really poorly, and his was 60. So, Dylan Gabriel, it's your job. We'll see if he's the future. There's also a segment there kind of pushing Shedeur Sanders, the coaching press conference. Kevin Stefanski's really kind of rugged because they just want to know, you're going to elevate this guy to be the backup? Why aren't you giving him more snaps now that you're playing Dylan Gabriel? Don't you think Sanders deserves more snaps? We're not going back to Joe Flacco, are we? Kevin Stefanski's just taken so much heat in Cleveland right now about how they're handling this, what they should. Gabriel deserves it because he played much better in preseason. He's got a lot more experience than Shedeur Sanders has. So I got friends in Cleveland that are just losing their mind. A, because the Cleveland Guardians got beat, but because Browns football. We got to go through a whole fall with this. By the way, speaking of going through this, Tennessee is 0-4. Brian Callahan might not get to the middle of the season as head coach. That's a rumbling that they're just making no progress. And they got Cam Ward, the number 1 pick in the draft, and it's not gone well. He threw for 107 yards this past weekend in Tennessee. Tennessee offensively, where everybody moves the football, John, Tennessee's averaging 210 yards a game with Cam Ward at quarterback. They just don't have a lot of players, not stopping anybody either. And then there's Dallas. I'll tell you, that was one of the really entertaining Monday night games I think I've ever seen, the 40-40 tie with Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
Up and down the field, and it went to overtime and all that. And when they got done, the Cowboys are moving the football on everybody with all their wide receivers and their running backs, and Dak Prescott's having a hell of a year. They can't stop anybody. They gave up 486 yards to Green Bay on the Monday night game. Jordan Love threw for 337. Dak has got CeeDee Lamb when he gets back healthy. George Pickens just playing out of his mind. He never played like this in Pittsburgh. He's got to stay disciplined and continue to grow, but there's no doubt that he's a great athlete. So that's fascinating to see where that's going to go. All right, your turn. Solve all these problems. Would you? You got spare time on your hands. There's no more baseball to talk about. Go ahead.
That Tyreek Hill injury. I mean, when he was tackled out of bounds, it looked like his calf rotated 90 degrees while his knee and his thigh remained stable. Like his foot was pointing off to the side. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, that doesn't look good.
Gruesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like almost like, the Joe Theismann injury or, who's the other guy, Alex Smith, you know, when they get hurt. So you kind of cringed when that one happened.
And they don't like to show it very often either on TV.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. The Browns thing, Stefanski is probably going, damn it, Deion Sanders, why did you come into my life, But they're doing the right thing. Dylan Gabriel earned that spot to be the number 2.
A lot of experience.
He really does. And he's steady, and he looked really good in the preseason. He deserves the opportunity, especially with other rookie quarterbacks getting theirs. And, move Shedeur into the number 2 hole. It's not like, Browns have playoff aspirations this year. Put Shedeur in the number 2 hole. Flacco is kind of like your George Blanda. He'll be the old guy that can back him up. But we kind of knew that's how the season was going to go here. And, that Cowboys-Packers game, or excuse me, Cowboys-Seahawks game.
No, Cowboys-Packers.
It was a Packers.
Monday night.
Okay, pardon me. I'm getting it confused with another game. But that was entertaining. And did you notice, like, at the very end of overtime, Jordan Love almost ran out of time to kick that tying field goal. I was like, oh, my God, there was only 1 second left.
Yeah. It was a hell of a game offensively. And the quarterbacks were getting chased all over the place. I mean, a ton of sacks along the way. Okay, that's all things NFL. If you got an opinion about any of those storylines, feel free to join us. This podcast, as we get to halftime, brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. John, DIXIELINE serves everybody, from the contractors to the homeowners.
Yes.
Anybody interested in doing renovation in your home? DIXIELINE offers a lot of that. Let's just focus in on that topic, what they do as it relates to kitchens, what they do as it relates to bathrooms, and what they do in terms of that, windows and doors.
Yeah, I mean, check out these doors here. They call them big doors, They're not like your regular old door that you have in a bedroom. These things open up and kind of merge your outdoor living space, great San Diego, SoCal weather, and mixing that with your indoor space into an integrated indoor-outdoor entertainment area. And those windows are just fantastic. And they, like this picture here, they slide right into the wall. They disappear into the wall, so, and they've got all kinds of different configurations. My wife and I, we were at a restaurant over the weekend over off of Arrow Drive in San Diego, and they had similar kind of doors there. And they opened up the restaurant, and it was, half indoor, half outdoor. It's really cool. So, but for homeowners, you need to go to your local hardware store. You need nuts and bolts and hammers and nails and, that kind of thing. DIXIELINE's got it. If you want to remodel your kitchen, your bath, your outdoor decking, maybe you want to do doors and windows, DIXIELINE's got it. If you're a builder or contractor, they got the lumber, the building materials, bags of concrete, strong guys that'll load your truck. They'll take care of you at DIXIELINE Lumber.
Just go to DIXIELINE.com. When you're thinking projects, might not think about it tomorrow, but maybe 3 months from now, think DIXIELINE. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber. Fix it, build it, you'll enjoy it for 2025 going to 26. DIXIELINE Lumber. Just a couple of program reminders. When we're done, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, topics and opinions, you get the chance to join us. For all the new people on the live stream, this thing's blowing up, starting us at 5 o'clock tonight, coming out of baseball. John, just explain to everybody how the Fans Forum works.
Well, some of these Dodger fans have figured out how Fans Forum works. They're piling in, smacking the Padres. So we're going to get to all you guys. You'll get your chance to be on stage in Hacksaw's podcast. But if you want to slip in another comment or question, go for it. Go on the live chat on YouTube, on X, or on Facebook, and we'll get you involved in Fans Forum. And I could read a list of all the names. It's long, and there's a lot of new guys. It's great to see.
Just a reminder, if you like sports, you have to check my website. I write on it every day. It's there first thing in the morning. Just go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com. You get to read the best 15 minutes in sports. You won't find the amount of information I write about every day. And my one man's opinion column, want you to check the website. In addition, want you to join Hacksaw's Insiders Group, you'll get on our special email list. We send out 2 emails a day to the Insiders Group. You can register right on the homepage on my website. We want you to join me on social media. Type in my name on X, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button. You get the chance to participate in all of Hacksaw's mini polls. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30 normally. Want you to subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll get the alerts every time we put up additional videos. And we do that a lot every week on the YouTube channel. And you can really help us a great deal by following us, by giving us a thumbs up, giving us a 5-star rating along the way. Okay, we've covered all things baseball. We're going to get to that in Fans Forum. We just marched through a lot of stories in the NFL. We're going to talk some college football here briefly. Go ahead, John.
But before we do, I just want to say this. Dude, you're everywhere, on the internet, on all the social media platforms and doing great. I mean, you're building large followings. But I got to believe in your position, in your career, you not only have seen sports evolve, but the technology that goes with sports evolve. I mean, take me back to when you first got in the business. What, quote, technology were you using?
I would interview you, and we might edit out the pieces of the interview that was too long or whatever. Mm-hmm. You do it with a razor blade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a magic marker.
Okay, so like kind of on those reel-to-reel tapes?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still got a few of those tapes stored in my garage.
Okay.
So that was the beginning. Now everything, because of technology, is hit this button, boom, it's gone. Edit this, move it here or through the computer, boom, it's right there. It's all beyond me. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry, with apologies. I'm still bleeping brilliant, but I'm still old school.
You just got to be put behind a microphone with a 77,000-watt signal. Blowtorch from Baja to the Canadian Rockies.
Technology is great, but you can't replace talent with technology. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I win again.
Okay, yeah, you win again. Okay, give that man a pink bunny. Okay, let's. You want to talk college football, right?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Boy, great game last weekend. Holy cow, Penn State, Oregon. 111,000 fans there for the whiteout in State College, Pennsylvania. And Oregon grinded their way to a victory. I mean, Dante Moore, young quarterback. He's a kid that was started at UCLA, transferred, first-year starter. He plays mistake-free football. He threw for 298 at Penn State in a really hostile environment.
Wow.
Made no mistakes whatsoever. Dan Lanning is such a great coach. A little crazy, a little bit on the edge, but he's such a great coach. And James Franklin, the Penn State coach, for all the things he's done, is not held in high esteem in State College. You know that at Penn State, James Franklin is 5-21 when Penn State plays a top 10 team. That's not good.
No.
In the Big Ten, he's 1-18 against Big Ten teams that are ranked inside the top 10.
Yeah.
So the problem just continues to go on and on and on. Oregon beats Penn State. That was a really good game. Another coach got fired. This is really bad. Fayetteville. I don't know if you've ever been to Arkansas.
Yeah.
They love the Razorbacks, the Hogs.
Suey?
Damn right. And they got rid of Sam Pittman. He got beat 56-13 at home by Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was a beatdown.
That was brutal. So Pittman's out of a job. A week after UCLA fired Deshaun Foster, 2 weeks after Virginia Tech got rid of their coach, and, of course, very early in the season, Oklahoma State got rid of Mike Gundy. So we've had 5 guys get axed in 5 weeks in college football. Next guy might be Billy Napier at the University of Florida. Let's talk about USC. This story just leaked out today. They kind of kept it under wraps. SC lost a really tough game at Illinois, and it was really hot in Champaign-Urbana, and went right down to the end, and Luke Altmaier, the Illini quarterback, marched him down there. They kicked a long-distance field goal for, I'd say, a bit of an upset win. They wasted a 384-yard passing performance by Jaden Maiava. USC's quarterback's really good. They got a lot of good skilled people. But the story just got out this morning. It was a case of food poisoning that kind of drifted through that USC locker room while they were at Illinois. They had a bunch of guys that were sick. Some staffers, some coaches were also sick. Lincoln Riley did not want to talk about it early this morning when the story finally broke, but he said, yeah, we had some health issues during the course of the game, but this Maeva kid that looks like a big-time quarterback. So
Totally.
Yeah. So you got USC losing. They're on a bye week this week. UCLA, they're 0-4. They fired Foster. Then they fired the defensive coordinator. And then this week, they fired Tino Sunseri, the new offensive coordinator. So they've cleaned house. UCLA gets Penn State this weekend at the Rose Bowl. I think there'll be a few people wearing blue and white rather than UCLA colors.
Yeah, that's going to be a beatdown.
And they're not competitive at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. That's terrible. San Diego State. Have they arrived? Tell you what, they're 3-1. They get Colorado State this weekend, which is in disarray. They get Nevada next weekend in disarray. They could be 5-1 before they start to play real people. They still have Boise ahead of them. They still have Fresno State ahead of them. They still got a wild throwing Hawaii team ahead of them. But their defense is playing lights out. Let the dogs roam, and they really are. That Aztec defense is just playing phenomenal. Their defensive metrics, they're ranked anywhere from 6th to 16th nationwide. There's 133 schools playing college football. San Diego State's 6th in the nation in scoring defense, 10th in the nation in overall defense. And their metrics against the pass, against the run, on third downs, it's just phenomenal. Have they arrived? I tend to think they have. Now, they're not there offensively yet, but I'll tell you, defensively, they're playing really, really well. They play Friday night football here against high school teams. I don't know what they're going to draw. They're papering the house again. They give away a pile of more free tickets. We'll see how many actually show up. But Sean Lewis is making progress. His Victory Monday press conferences are pretty damn good. So San Diego State feeling good right now about making progress right now. But the teeth of the schedule is still to come. Boise, Fresno, Hawaii. Those won't be easy games. So Aztecs making progress. The floor is yours.
The floor. Okay, I'll tell you what. Saturday was an interesting day because I was watching the SC game here, and then my wife and I we had a lunch, with some friends over. You ever been to Fidel's in Solana Beach?
Yes.
And it's a really cool place. And we were there, and we were sitting, and they had the big screen right in front of our table of the SC game against Penn State. And yeah,
Illinois.
Oh, pardon me.
Penn State, Oregon.
Illinois, excuse me. And that's when we saw, it all came down to that field goal at the end. And you're like, that was a bummer for them, But you're right. Maeva looked really good. I see the Arkansas Hog, and I think of, who was the basketball coach of the 40 Minutes of Hell?
Nolan Richardson.
Yeah, that's what I think about when I see that logo, and a little bit of Eric Musselman when he was there. And then San Diego State. Right now, in my opinion, they're exceeding my original expectation, which is fantastic, But it was weird. It was a 6-3 game, and, they got dogs on defense, and thank God they have a good defense because you ain't going to win many games only scoring 6. Yep. But you got to be, cup half full. I mean, imagine if Sean Lewis comes out of this looking like a hero, after taking, a bit of abuse earlier.
Well, he deserved abuse. But at the end of the day, let's see what they do against credible people because they haven't really beaten anybody. Northern Illinois, as good a program as it's had in recent years in the Mid-American Conference, has no offense at all.
Oh, obviously.
and that was the field position football. They just, if we can't move it, no problem. We'll just pin them back to the 8-yard line, and that's the way it went. I think Northern Illinois was 4 for 15 on third downs. So, Aztecs are living off a veteran defense because they brought virtually everybody back. Progress on the offensive side of football is still slow, but we still got weeks for them to build and learn, get more reps for Jaden Denigal and Lucky Sutton and to grow this before they play real people. But the back end of the schedule, they play real people.
Well, didn't Hoke and Long, they built the team on a solid defense, right?
They ran the damn ball, and they play really good defense.
Really good defense. And we weren't really, when we got Sean Lewis, we weren't thinking of a defensive coach. We were thinking of an offensive magician. But imagine if they come out of this with a really rock-solid defense, and this Aztec fast thing actually happens, and we saw some of that, in the game with Cal. Hey, something, they might be able to make a run. And when they play Fresno, isn't it like the oil can game or something like that? So, hey, maybe they can, surprise a few teams.
Well, they're going to be 5-1 before they start playing the other big teams in the conference, and six wins gets them a bowl berth, which is kind of cool. So they're making progress there. You're an Aztec fan, friend, alum, feel free.
Fill up the stadium.
I'll believe that when I see that. But fill up here. Fans Forum chat box is open. There's no reason you can't be part of this if you're a San Diego State fan, because I cover them. I go to the press conferences, go to games. I want to hear what you've got to say. Progress. Have they arrived? I tell you, 3-1's a hell of a lot better than where they were last year.
Aztec Mike has something to say.
That's fine and dandy. He can say anything he wishes. If you'd say it to me directly, he can always email me.
He was peppering me a few days ago.
That's fine. You got something to say it to me. Just email me through my website, and I'll be glad to respond. Okay,
there you go.
We move on from college football. Hoops,
NBA news, Lakers, Clippers, and some WNBA.
Training camps open this week. Preseason games open this weekend. Lakers play first preseason game Friday night. Let's talk about the Clippers situation. He's losing me. Kawhi Leonard. We knew, the Clippers knew, media day would occur, and he would be asked. So Kawhi Leonard was asked 2 questions about the NBA investigation, and he sat there in rather condescending fashion. He's losing me as a fan. And just mumbled with stuff you could not decipher, and then he got into denial mode. And then the Clippers interjected, and they have now proceeded to piss off all the national media, which was not allowed to ask questions of Kawhi Leonard. They would not recognize any of the other national reporters after the first 2 questions were about it, and then Kawhi got up and left. You think the story's going to go away because you don't want to talk about it? No. He's starting to lose his credibility with the way he's conducted his business. He said, I'm not involved. I'm not going to answer any questions to give you conspiracy journalist clickbait. Well, the NCAA does not view this as clickbait stuff. That's why they got this national law firm that's doing this investigation. So I'm really disappointed. Now I also find out his agent, his true agent, Mitch Frankel.
Not the uncle?
Well, the uncle obviously runs Kawhi's life, but Mitch Frankel was making derogatory calls, texts, and emails to that company wanting to know where that money was. It was supposed to be paid to Kawhi.
Well, yeah.
So this goes deeper and deeper. But he mumbled, and then he got up and he walked out. And then the Clippers have really offended the national media. The national media is not turned on Steve Ballmer, but they're turned on the organization. Tough story. Lakers, LeBron, totally healthy for the most part. Says he's not yet decided what he's going to do next year. Says he is amped to play with Luka, totally healthy. Luka looks like he's lost like 21 pounds. Unbelievable shape. Austin Reeves talking about what he thinks DeAndre Ayton is going to bring defensively as a rim protector, and the fact that they got a defender in Marcus Smart who's got a lot of history, and this young three-point shooter who's also a defender in LaRavia. Lakers think they're going to be a much better team, and they think obviously with the addition of Ayton, the ex-Sun, former Trailblazer, that's going to help them a great deal. This story is exploding nationally. We're talking about the war of words in the NBA involving the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, and Caitlin Clark and other star players in the WNBA. As teams held their exit interviews and press conferences this week, players in Minnesota, players in L.A., players in New England went off on the commissioner. Why? Because they don't think the commissioner has any right to make comments like this. Caitlin Clark should get on her knees and be thankful she has a WNBA platform to make the kind of endorsement money she's making. And it's just exploded. The players have just absolutely lost their mind about what this commissioner said about Caitlin Clark and other players. And the press conferences this week just vicious, taken off like a wildfire about how the commissioner speaking this way about the product on the floor, the people come to see the players. They don't come to see the commissioner of the league. And these players are of the opinion that they've been getting screwed financially for years, and their agreement is now up. Sophie Cunningham said today in Indiana in their exit interview, we may not play because of the way we're being treated by the commissioner and how these collective bargaining talks with the union have absolutely stalled. I mean, the stuff that the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, said, I mean, it's absolutely stunning. You would talk about your own product, your own players, the way she did. So we got the Clippers, Kawhi, we got the Lakers, LeBron and Luka, and you got all things WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, just on the WNBA, I mean, it's idiotic that the commissioner would be saying about this because Caitlin Clark is what's really turning this league on, and same with Sophie Cunningham and Paige Beckers. I mean, we can make a list of all these really outstanding athletes, or you can question someone like Angel Reese's athleticism, but she gets rebounds and she's a star. Yep. But the thing that I'm thinking is, I don't care who you are, especially if you're a commissioner of a ladies basketball organization and you're a woman, you would never tell another woman to get down on her knees. That is like really low.
I concur.
So don't go there. So I know. At any rate, let's move on from that. The Clippers, I don't know the detail, but in general, I don't have a big problem with this. We talked about this in previous episodes. So if Kawhi Leonard is getting peppered with questions, yeah, he mumbled and he walked off, and that's not the right way to handle it. But what do you expect him to say? It's like, well, I had an endorsement deal with this company and they paid me. And, what's the problem? And, so I think that's the question here.
No, the problem is they're circumventing the salary cap. This company, through his uncle, through his agent, circumvented the salary cap.
Well, see, I think that is going to be tricky to prove. I think we're going to see how you got to follow the flow of the money. And there was that one report that the number 2 guy for Ballmer had to dig in his pocket and pull out a few mil. Then obviously that's a smoking gun. But, if this is a legitimate company that's doing an endorsement deal that just happens to be friends with Ballmer, and Ballmer or the agent was like a matchmaker, it's no big deal. And by the way, if I was a player and I had an agent and I had an endorsement deal with a company, damn right I'd be saying, where's my money? Especially if they have a payment schedule and if they're not fulfilling it, you got to, be on it.
You're going to lose me too. Kawhi's lost me. You're going to lose me now.
Well, I don't have full information, but I will say that I tend to give Kawhi the benefit of the doubt because he's kind of our guy, so I'm sort of in that bucket.
Yeah, but my response is money changes people. And I think this kid is now changed.
Well, money changes some people. Okay, so again, more evidence is necessary. I want to know, what's Jeremy Castleberry doing in this whole thing? He's his assistant. We always see him. I wonder if he's playing any business role here, but we love him too. Both are former Aztecs.
Okay, that's all things basketball. Feel free to dive in here if you can. Hit a 3-point shot, jump into the Fans Forum chat box. Hell, we'll probably be here until Friday noon lunchtime answering everybody's response in the Fans Forum.
Oh, a lot of questions and comments, no doubt.
Okay, let's move on. Hockey Hotline is open for business.
Yeah, here we go. We're talking about the Wild again and the Ducks.
Big stories in the last 48 hours in the NHL. Done deal. We talked last week about Kirill Kaprizov, the big 40-50 goal scorer, Minnesota Wild, walk free agent at the end of the season. He was offered an all-time record $16 million, highest paid player in the league, rejected it. He tried to invoke the fact that, hey, the collective bargaining agreement says I can get $20 million per year. I am entitled to 20% of the cap. Minnesota Wild said we can't do that, then we'd have no money to go get other players. He just signed all-time record $17 million per year. Phenomenal contract for Kaprizov. He's a great player. The Ducks, we have talked extensively about the Ducks. Of course, the San Diego Gulls are their top farm club down here. The Ducks opened up their checking account this week. They got Mason McTavish back into camp.
Good.
They signed McTavish, the young center iceman, scored 60 goals in 2.5 years, I think it is. They signed him to a 6-year, $42 million deal, which is that's a big pay bump. And then today, they signed one of the top young defensemen, Jackson Lacombe, who played here, started his career here, college hockey star. They signed him to an all-time record 8-year, $72 million contract with the Ducks. So that's Ducks make news. Bottom line, the only thing I say, playoffs, baby. It's time for the Ducks to be in the playoffs because they have now constructed a team of good young players, and they've added guys from the outside through all these trades with the New York Rangers, amongst others. It's time for this team to be in the NHL postseason. I think they're going to be knocking at the door, but they got the kids signed, and that's huge.
Well, they got the new coach, too, right?
Yes, Joel Kenville.
Yeah, so, they've got all the pieces, so hopefully they can make that next leap forward. But in this case, the player for the Wild, notice he was offered $16 million. He asked for 20, and he ended up with 17. Okay, he didn't get all he wanted, but it was a good negotiating thing, and the guy's deserving of it. He's one of the top players in the league.
All-time record.
Yeah, so, pay the man. There's more money flowing into the NHL. The NHL, what you had said, they get 53% goes to the payroll. So, yeah, he deserves it. It was his time. Contract was up. Go for it, man.
Next week, we'll probably have the Edmonton Oilers logo up there because we still have to figure out what Connor McDavid's going to be paid.
Okay, that'll be a good one.
He'll probably be north of 17.
Yeah, that's going to how it goes. And frankly, he's more deserving, don't you think?
I concur with you. Okay, last topic on the table. Oh, get ready for this one.
Yeah, the Ryder Cup, man. That was a rowdy event.
Great phrase, ugly Americans. That's what's being discussed globally about what happened at Bethpage Black. I mean, it was a tremendous finish. The Europeans were running away. The Europeans totally dominated in alternate ball and best ball on Friday and Saturday. The Americans were in such a massive hole, it was ridiculous. And then the Americans came back when it was singles play, guys on guys, and they won. They won 5 matches on Sunday on the final day, and they halved a bunch of the other ones. Bryson DeChambeau, get about this. He was down 5 holes in singles play on Sunday. He came back and earned a tie. Wow. It's absolutely amazing. You and I are playing, so somebody wins the first hole, or we have it. Somebody wins the second hole. He was down 5 holes. He's down 5-0, and he came back and split.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. Other guys did not do well. I don't understand the psyche. Scotty Scheffler and DeChambeau in alternate ball and best ball, 0 for 8 in their matches on Friday and Saturday. And it's hard to believe they played that poorly.
When you say 0 for, you mean that they used the other guy's ball.
Yeah, but they didn't win any of the matches they were in.
They didn't even win. Okay, yeah.
And some comfort zone like alternate shot or best ball, Scheffler doesn't feel comfortable playing whatever the shot that his teammate put into the rough. Oh, it's really strange considering how great Scheffler is. Luckily, J.J. Spawn played very well. Xander Schauffele really bounced back. He played really well. So we got all that. And then we got all this. The abuse that the American drunks at Bethpage Black heaped on the European players.
It was brutal.
Really brutal. F-bombs. Golf was a gentleman's game. When you're getting ready to hit off the tee, silence. Not there. You're getting hit off the tee. Guys are hooting, hollering. Rory, you want a beer? As he's in the backswing. Taking cell phone pictures, click, click, as guys are lining up to putt. And then as they got towards the end on Sunday, it really got rowdy. Throwing beer as these guys are walking up the fairway.
Yeah.
McElroy's wife got hit with beer.
Yeah.
It was really disgraceful. PGA of America's got now they got a real problem on their hands because people are really upset. The Europeans are upset. The American golfers are upset because that's not us. And then McElroy just cleaned him out this week at a press conference nationally. He said this is not the standard that the PGA should allow to happen. So I'll be interested to see where this thing goes. TV ratings faltered badly. Maybe because Friday, Saturday, it was like a blowout.
Yeah.
The Euros were owning it. So nobody said, I'm not watching this Sunday because there's no chance to win.
Yeah.
But the TV ratings are 3.3 million.
They're competing with the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. It's the lowest I've had in 25 years.
Yeah.
So that was not good. TV ratings in Europe, 5 million.
I believe it.
In England, they were going crazy.
Yeah, they were loving it.
So, good headline. Ugly American. Why the hell? Why would the PGA of America even allow this atmosphere to exist? I know you brought up a week ago Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And how rowdy that has become. It's kind of become a party event. But this was so far over the line. It was terrible.
That's what I was wondering. Is this just belligerent New Yorkers just being belligerent New Yorkers? Or was it a strategy by the tournament officials that they were going to let the fans, they weren't going to reprimand them, So, but have you ever heard, this is like a tangent, have you ever heard the thing about Tommy Lasorda when he talked about golf? And he's like, these guys, you got to put a ball on a tee, and everyone needs to be quiet. And then he's going to take a few practice swings. You got to be quiet. And then he hits the ball, and everyone kind of claps. He goes, you get into Dodger Stadium. There's a guy throwing 100 miles an hour at your head. There's 60,000 people yelling and screaming, throwing F-bombs, and he's got to hit the ball. So this hoity-toity golf thing is just stupid. It's stupid, and I like it. It's entertaining me. Now, granted, the American guys, they did cross the line. They went over the line. But I know I'd like to the whole Scottsdale thing, and when they have that stadium, around the hole, and everyone's having a fun time, good on them. But this was a disappointing tournament.
This was way over the line.
And it, we won't go there, but it did delve into like political stuff too, U.S., Europe, and all that. So there was just a lot on the line here, and there's a lot of people that had something to say.
You got to drink Schlitz malt liquor, don't you, on Sunday? That's why that happened. Okay, those are hot topics on the table. We've done our job. We do sports talk the way it should be done. Topics and then our opinions on the topics. Now it's your turn to take this podcast over. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they got materials. You want ideas, go to DIXIELINE.com. See all the things they have to offer. John? I bet there's a few people got a few opinions here. Here comes Fans Forum. Ready, set, go.
Okay, let's go to David. Again, he give us a couple of bucks to go to the top of the line. David said, Manny Machado showed us who he really is, making obscene gestures to fans. What a clown.
I don't want to hear from Manny because Manny used the phrase to me, look at the back of my baseball card. Do you know that Manny went into this playoff series? His career record in postseason was .215 batting average. And then he went 1 for 11 in this series. Now, granted, he did have the one big swing and the game-winning home run. But this guy is not a postseason player. So that's where we are. The accolades nationally are just unbelievable. I mean, you sit there. I have a different perspective of Manny because I've dealt with him face-to-face. And in that clubhouse. Is he a gamer? Is he a baller? Hell yes. Has he got a lot of talent? Yes. But do you win with Manny? I don't know. Postseason, Manny's never won anything. So his batting average now in postseason is probably like 211. David and I probably agree to a degree on Manny. But Manny, don't look at me and say, look at the back of my baseball card, because, yeah, I've seen it. 21 failure, 23 failure. What happened in 24 in the World Playoffs against the Dodgers, and now what's happened in 25 when they needed you the most, you went 1 for 11. I mean, that's my opinion. Yours?
He's the villain, He's always the villain. I mean, in Chicago, now up, third baseman Manny Machado, boo. It's like just overwhelming, And then the fans in Milwaukee hate him because he spiked. Remember, he spiked their first baseman when he was playing for the Dodgers in the playoffs. And I know Red Sox fans hate him because what he did to who was that little second baseman he ran into there at one time. So he's got a rep. But imagine you're in his shoes. I mean, you're going into Chicago, and everybody is just hating on you, and you just lost, and you're feeling kind of raw, and he's going to react a little bit. But generally, he's been pretty good, pretty well behaved for the most part. I think he gets way more crap than he deserves. I think he's definitely a Hall of Famer, especially if he's going to have another 5 or 6 years left in his career. Is Manny a leader? I think he is, but he's not like a rah-rah cheerleader leader. He's like a lead by example guy. He's like a tough guy leader. And so well, you're right. I mean, he went 1 for 11 in this series, and the hitting was crap. The pitching was fine, but he bears responsibility for that. And really, I'm really disappointed in guys like Tatis, and Cronenworth came in at a big clutch moment today too. So there's a lot of guys that need to look in the mirror. You're going to it'll be an interesting offseason, especially to your point. The roster is going to get flipped on its head.
Don't tell me to look at the back of your baseball card, because I've seen a lot of this in postseason, end of season, most important times of the season, and I don't see great Machado productivity. David, thank you for joining us. Let's see what somebody else has got to say about this. Go ahead, John.
Okay, now here comes some Dodger fans. This is a mild one, though. He goes, this is from Hector. Hi, Lee. I'm so glad I don't have to try to use John's home address to try to buy playoff tickets this year in San Diego. Go Dodgers.
Dodgers are playing really well right now, with the exception of your bullpen. The look on Dave Roberts' face sitting in the dugout game after game after game. My God, do I dare give it to Trinan? I'm going to trust Tanner Scott? What the hell's happened to Vessier? He put Emmett Sheehan in there. He couldn't find home plate. Now, luckily, Roki Sasaki, he just walked out on the mound and he just threw heat. He was over 100 miles an hour, 1, 2, 3. So now they go to Philadelphia. Tough place to pitch. I'll be intrigued, though, in all honesty, Hector. Ohtani's never pitched in Philadelphia, and that's a tight bandbox stadium, and they hit a lot of home runs in Philly. And Sasaki's never been in that environment. Talk about hostile. That's Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Philly fans are going to be all over these guys. But you know what? It's just like I said, everything's going to work out fine for the Dodgers.
It's going to be a great series.
Yeah, it'll be a Phillies-Dodgers will be fantastic. And, again, Roki Sasaki, the Manhattan Project, is actually doing what we all thought he was going to do. But I saw these pitching overlays. John Boy and these other guys, they show him throwing a fastball and a slider, and then they superimpose the two videos on top of each other.
They look the same pitch.
It looks like the same pitch, same arm slot, same everything, and one ball goes this way and the other ball goes that way. Yeah. And so, thank God for Roki Sasaki, or they'd be in a hell of hurt.
Well, he's only done it one time,
but still, he was doing it nicely in the minor leagues. So they've got something, because Tanner Scott, if he gets in the game, he's going to be like looking over his shoulder the whole time.
And this is a veteran who's had a world of experience, but he's not locating his pitches anymore.
Well, he has no confidence. He said baseball hates me right now. He said that like a month ago, and it still hates him. So, yeah, Dodgers. They're going to do well. It's going to be a fantastic series. Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper and all these big hitters off of the Dodger pitching. We're going to see what they can do.
Okay. Phillies Dodgers, it'll be fun. Cubs Milwaukee is going to be like a family feud. I mean, they're so close together. That's a great historic rivalry. But Dodgers Phillies, that's big boy baseball.
Yeah, you got the Craig Counsell angle on that whole Brewers-Cubs thing, since he's kind of there. But they're only, like 2 hours apart by car? So, yeah, I mean, that kind of works out nicely. If you're kind of a Midwest, that's going to be a fun series to root for.
Okay, we move on.
And let's go to Mike, a little Padre talk. He goes, lack of hitting and bullpen management were our downfalls.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed because, weeks and weeks ago, I used the phrase about baseball IQ, Mike Schilt, and pushing all the right buttons. John, I really thought he came out of character with his use-misuse of the bullpen. When we're going to Morion that early, and you're disrupting the flow of these guys and the roles of these guys that established, I didn't understand it. He'd done it prior, before Jason Adams got hurt, after they made the trade for Mason Miller. I mean, he had Jason Adams coming in the fourth and fifth inning of games. And I thought his decisions in this 3-game series, who to put in, stunned me. I mean, Estrada came in and couldn't find home plate, walked in a run. I would have sworn, I was told that Michael King was going to be the first guy out of the pen. If not him, then Vasquez, because you needed innings. If you could not be vintage Darvish, you needed somebody you could trust, so you would go with the next guy who was a starter. And instead he went with Estrada. And next thing you know, they're burning through the bullpen. They used everybody. And using guys 3 days in a row, I know it's all hands on deck. That's Mike Schultz's phrase. I just thought either he overmanaged or he totally came out of character. Now, if there's a Padre fan's got a different opinion, that's why that fans forum chat box is open. Jump in. Go ahead.
You got to score more than one run.
True.
Okay. I mean, they gave up 3. And I'll take that any day in a playoff game, 3 runs.
Outside of the one swing of Machado, they did nothing offensively in the series.
Very little. Yeah, it's on the offense. That's the problem. But, when you get into the playoffs, everything's different. I mean, you remember how many times have we seen closers rolling in? Randy Johnson, Madison Bumgarner, Kurt Schilling with the suture on his ankle. Yeah. So we see this sort of thing in the playoffs all the time. You can second guess some of Schultz's decisions, but you keep your eye on the ball. The problem's the hitting, and the hitting was crap.
And the defense from Dansby Swanson and Nico Hoerner was off the charts.
Yeah, it was, but none of those balls were crazy hard hit. They were like little bloops, but they did make great catches. They did turn some fine double plays. The defense was great for the Cubs, and we knew they had a good defense. But come on, man. I mean, Tatis looked inept.
Out of sorts.
He's like, what are you doing? He was just sort of waving at pitches way out of the zone, and it's like his mind was somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you just joining us, I don't want to ruin your night. Tatis, 1 for 12. Arise, 2 for 11. Machado, 1 for 10. Cronenworth, 0 for 10. Your top-paid players are a combined 4 for 43 at the most important time of the season. As John said, you didn't hit.
Yeah. They're not hitting. I mean, and imagine if they had Ramon Laureano. I mean, that would have changed a lot of things, because now they had to go with like 3 left-handed hitters in a row, right, and they bring out Drew Pomeranz, and then you're kind of screwed. And if Laureano was there, I think that would have changed things, but you still Machado's got a $300 gazillion contract. Tatis has a statute contract. They need to perform like star players.
Now, Laureano only hit 148 over the final 3-4 weeks of the season before he got hurt.
But it really changes the bullpen management of Craig Counsell. Because right now they bring in the lefty, and you're like, okay, we're toast. Cronenworth, Sheets. O'Hearn might squeeze out a hit, but I'm not counting on the other 2.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, back to David, because he gives us some money. He goes, John, don't be mean and call us old people out for saying the wrong thing. He did say Pittsburgh.
I did say Pittsburgh?
Yeah, you did.
My brain's... I'm going in so many different directions mentally right now. Okay, go ahead.
No, but you do that sometimes. Okay. And it's funny when you do it.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that goes on simultaneously.
I get it. And there's a lot of people, and then people love calling you out when you have like a slip of the tongue like that. But to me, it's almost part of the fun of Hacksaw, because you're just letting it rip. You're putting your topics on the table, one man's opinion, and Pittsburgh, this will slip out, and you're like, okay, it's Hacksaw, but it's all good. Okay, let's keep moving on.
All right, it is bleeping brilliant.
It is bleeping brilliant, and okay, I'm going to try to avoid the ones with F-bombs about the Padres. Okay, let's go here to Rija. He goes, perfect record, 0 rings. Congrats, Madres.
Just feel free to pile on there. That's okay.
Just pile on. Okay, here's another one from Tim. This really shouldn't be a surprise. Starting pitching was compromised. Bullpen is very strong, but that wasn't going to be enough. Offense is atrocious, just anemic. This is a referendum on Tatis and Machado. They're not clutch. 9th inning is an offensive microcosm. 2 hit batters and couldn't get 1 big hit. Tear down the team. Get rid of Preller.
Well, it'd be interesting to see where they go forward here. I asked the generic question. We've now had 11 years of doing business AJ's way. And I am of the opinion that Padre baseball has become such a success in the Gaslamp Quarter because of him. Because what they've done in terms of building, creating interest, putting a really quality product on the field is because of A.J. Preller's ability to wheel and deal. In talk show radio, my favorite phrase was, it's always your fault. So this is his fault. he built a really good product. Now, that being said, though, if I asked you at this hour, what do you remember most about AJ's 11 years? I don't know that people would say the 3.43 million fans. They might say the electricity at Petco Park, but they would say this loss to the Cubs, that choke job to the Dodgers, the failures in 2021 and 2023 with this record-setting payroll. So there's probably a lot of people of the opinion, I've seen enough and they never got it done. My opinion is we would not be here were it not for that guy and his people and all the wheeling and dealing. But that being done, we have not been to a World Series yet. And the window to get to the World Series is getting closer and closer to closing. Okay.
Talk to me, San Diego. Who do you blame? That's kind of what you're always thinking. It's like, where's the
who's going to reaction? Give me the big picture.
Who's going to take a shot? Preller, obviously, is the man in the hot seat. Okay, there has been speculation. I remember Marty Caswell was interviewing him and asking him, hey, you only have another year on your contract. Are you going to go into your final year as a lame duck? Are they giving me an extension? And Preller was coy about it. And, potentially some rumors that Preller doesn't get along with the new owner or maybe or with Grupner. So who knows? But for me as a fan, this is a great year for a Padre fan. Now, granted, you want to win. It sucks that we don't win. It's been a loser thing in San Diego forever. But at least now it's way the hell better than when it was when we had
Chub Feeney.
Oh, yeah. You have to go way back to the 80s. I was thinking of Ryan Klesko and Phil Nevin.
Tom Werner era.
The Tom Werner era, with Roseanne grabbing her crotch and spitting after the national anthem. There's been so many chapters in this whole Padre, history of about 50 years. They need a championship badly. But right now, they're in the best position to win that they've ever been. So is that really Preller's fault? I don't know. Maybe there is credence to the fact that people say Tatis and Machado are not winners.
Or they can't lead you to the promised land.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what others have got to add. Opinion, feel free. Don't use F-bombs. We'll put it up if you do it. But don't. I know it's hard for some of you. Show some class. Just try. Go ahead, John.
There's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, let's go to Flegel. He goes, hey, as a Dodger fan, I'm satisfied with the San Diego finish. Love you guys.
That's okay. Flash me your ring. Let me see the ring you got. Go ahead.
Okay, and then Hamphrey's got two of them here. First is gone fishing, and the second one is stop making excuses. Cubs are a better team than the Padres.
I don't know how to say that overall. Cubs, the Cubs are beset by pitching problems. As excited as they might be at Wrigleyville right now, Counsell, I thought, really messed up with his rotation. I mean, Jameson Taillon, who had come off the disabled list, had pitched really well. Imanaga had kind of hit a wall in the middle of the season, just one of the same pitchers giving up home runs. Why would you not go with Taillon in the second game to try to seal the deal? Imanaga didn't even start. You changed his work habits by asking him to come out of the pen as a bulk guy, and he gave up another critical home run. You lost the game. So, that was one of the things that came through my mind watching Counsell. You got a red-hot right-hander in Taillon. Why don't you just try to close the deal in Game 2 and pitch him? And then don't ask Imanaga to warm up in the bullpen and then come in as a reliever. If he's a starter, he's a starter. Should have been a starter in the third game, not the second. So I thought Counsell nearly cost him the series with the pitching staff. But they were really deep in the pen, and he ran everybody out there.
Yeah, he did. I mean, for him, it was all hands on deck as well. Yeah, I mean, scoreboard. The Cubs are a better team, right? I mean, you got to admit that. But, when you look at the roster, you're like, we should beat these guys, And it didn't work out that way. So it sucks, It's back to the drawing board. Here we go again. Padres. I mean, here's one from Alex King. He goes, well, here we go with the same old vinyl record song with the San Diego Padres. Well, there's always next year.
No, it's not going to be the same. We don't know from a budget standpoint. I am of this opinion that this ownership, which has continued to raise ticket prices nonstop, this ownership is trying to recoup all the money that A.J. Preller burned through while Peter Seidler was alive. And I'm just of the concern that they're not going to spend more money, that they're going to continue to retract as we go. Now, granted, they're still stuck with contracts. The other thing is they're going to lose free agents. The qualifying offer is $22 million this November 1st. They're not going to offer Cease 22.
No
They're
way.
not going to offer Michael King 22.
Maybe they should.
Suarez can opt out, will opt out.
Yeah, see you later.
You're not going to offer him 22, I don't think. So what we just had, I don't think it's going to be back here.
Yeah, I mean, think about next year. You're right. There'll be a lot of different names. They were talking about in the broadcast how Mason Miller is likely going to be a starter next year.
I don't.
You don't think so?
No, I think with Suarez exiting, I think Miller goes. It becomes a closer.
Oh, no. You know who it was? It was the MLB channel. With Harold Reynolds and those guys. They were the ones. They were talking about Mason Miller as a starter. Yeah. Next year, who knows? Next year, they may have to make some really hard decisions. A lot of people are questioning Cronenworth. He's a solid dude. He can play. He's versatile. He does come up with clutch hits, but he's still like a 7 or 8 hitter. Is he a difference maker? You love the guy, but you're not sure. So, yeah. Big challenges.
Letdown. My God, what a letdown.
Now I can focus on Aztec football and shortly Aztec basketball, and that's where my attention is going to be.
Okay, we move on. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go to Chris. He goes, Roki Sasaki is going to be this Dodger team what K-Rod was to the Angels in 2002 World Series championship team.
Well, they asked an awful lot when he came here from Japan. He started well, but then he had shoulder problems, and then he lost his ability or his confidence and pitched 3 and 4. So he came back. Once they sent him to Oklahoma City and he got back on the mound, he was still scuffling. And they made a determination about 3 weeks ago, we may put him in the bullpen, and we'll ask him to do one thing, throw a fastball or throw a splitter. That's it. The other stuff he's not yet mastered, and that they refined his mechanics and all that. And, he threw 3 perfect innings in Oak City, brought him up, and his first outing here in the bullpen in the playoffs, 1, 2, 3, boom, 101 miles an hour. So that's going to be the role. Now, as John and I have already talked about, Chris, let's just understand he's going to Philadelphia. This is the playoffs. It is going to be so hostile. He's never, ever experienced this. Now, is he stone cold? Maybe he is. He's got ice water in his veins. It's not a big thing. So this will be fascinating to see, but they're going to need him. Because I can't trust Tanner Scott because his confidence is waning, and I'm surely can't trust Blake Trinan any longer. I don't know where Vessier is in this whole thing. He gets good outings, bad outings. Banda has good outings, bad outings. Kershaw can be a long reliever. He will be back on the playoff roster for Philadelphia, but it's going to be intriguing. This series the world's going to stop.
Oh, for sure.
This is going to be a great series.
Well, the one thing going for Sasaki's benefit in Philly is he won't be able to understand the insults he's being thrown in from the stands. But, yeah, that's going to be must-see TV, prime time, and I know they're going to have, you said, Ohtani pitching game 1.
Yes.
So here we go with how long is he going to pitch and how they're going to manage the batting order. This is when the Ohtani rule is going to come into play, right?
But they've pushed him. He's gone 5 into the 6th inning now, his last 2 starts. His pitch count has been in maybe close to 80, and he's got such vibrant stuff. I don't think he's going to have a lot of stress innings.
Yeah, and then Snell's looking good. Yamamoto's looking great.
And you got Glass now.
But he's like in the bullpen. I think they start. Did you see that Kershaw wasn't on the roster?
For the first series, he isn't for the second one.
Oh, he is?
That's what I was told.
Oh, interesting.
Glass now goes back into the rotation.
Okay, well, yeah, because you're going to need more starters.
Well, it's a 5-game series. So
yeah, exactly.
Back into routine.
Okay.
It's been a great series. Chris, thank you.
Okay, and let's go here to KW. A decade of rebuilding won't help out this sorry franchise, but keep the excuses going. Manny, Tatis, Bogarts laughing all the way to the bank.
Okay, and he's piling on. He's got a right to pile on. You didn't hit. You didn't play well. Haven't won anything yet, despite how many years they've been there together. Have we been to the World Series yet? That was the motivation for the way they were doing their business. They're not there. And now franchise takes a step back because guys are going to be leaving. And guys are broken down physically, too.
Yeah, it's funny how, after a season's over and the fans will say, well, it could have done this and it could have been that. And there are obviously some rational explanations for what happened. But Dodger fans say, that's all excuses. You're just blowing excuses. You're never going to win San Diego. And here we go again.
But my retort is, Dodgers have won all these division races, and how many World Series rings do they have?
No, well, if you count the asterisk year, and then last year, okay, and then you got to go all the way back to Hershiser, right?
Yeah, Kirk Gibson.
Yeah.
That was 1988.
Yeah. But still, Padre fan cannot criticize. They're not on equal footing. They can't make that argument, but yeah. I mean, the Dodgers should have like 10 World Series trophies in the last 10 years.
KW, you tell your friends about this podcast now. Everybody's with us in Fans Forum. When you're done, you got to email your friends, text your friends, tell them what the hell we're doing Mondays and Thursdays here. Next one.
Okay, here's a shout out from New Mexico from Gordon. Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Canceled going to the New Mexico State game to watch you. Happy to see the Padres bullpen the Dodgers bullpen has reinforcement. Hope it holds up. Great show as always.
I'll be fascinated to see how they use Kershaw because he's going to be in the bullpen. So that to me means if a starter stumbles, Kershaw will be in there as a long guy if he has to come in the third and fourth inning. See how he does. Kershaw, it's odd. Historically, Kershaw's numbers in postseason and playoffs, not very good at all. But he's obviously a Hall of Famer, so that's going to be fascinating. But, boy, the Dodgers are hitting. I mean, Mookie had 4 hits last night. And obviously Ohtani's just hammering the ball. And Paez has had a bunch of big hits. Will Smith, they now think, is going to be back and can catch, which is really, really important. So Dodgers, Phillies, take no prisoners. That's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. And I love it when they play in Philly. You get all that kind of the Rocky sound, when they hit the bell and all that stuff, which is great. But what's interesting is that there are a lot of Dodger fans, sort of in middle America because, you figure the Albuquerque Dukes were the Dodgers minor league AAA team forever. And then in Oklahoma, the AAA and AA team are both Dodgers. So there's a ton of Dodger fans in Oklahoma. So, yeah, Dodger Nation's feeling good right now, and now they got to play the Phillies. You got, the Brewers against the Cubs. Mm-hmm. The National League teams look a lot better than the American League.
Really heavy. Now, the Yankees obviously have got all those big bats. I just don't know where Toronto is because now they're saying Bo Bichette is not going to play in the American League Divisional Series. He's still undergoing therapy for the knee injury, so that's one less 300 hitter around Guerrero and Springer and those guys in Toronto. I don't have any hope that Detroit's going to be anything more than cannon fodder in their playoff series.
Yeah. You were saying that the Detroit they were dead, and then they came back.
A little bit. They played Cleveland with a team batting average of 223.
Yeah.
And Cleveland's got a bunch of hardworking kids, but their collective batting average was 223 without a hell of a lot of power. Okay, we move on.
Okay, here's another confirmation from JF. The NL is better than the AL.
Oh, right now they are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and here from Greg, could the Bogaerts signing be seen as a crippling event in the franchise's history when they didn't need a shortstop at the time?
Well, they had the idea. They got these other guys that play these other positions because shortstop means you got a great athlete. Jackson Merrill's hell of a center fielder. Tatis is a hell of a right fielder. So if you get Bogey to play shortstop. The only thing is, the only gripe I had, he was a really good player, but his numbers are starting to tail in Boston. You gave him what, 10 years? I mean, you paid him forever. It was kind of the Albert Pujols contract, which kind of stunned me. I like Xander. I think Xander, he can still play. He's had some injury problems, but he's still productive. As bad as he played the first third of the season, that dude was hitting 320 before he fractured his foot. And he was playing great defense and running the bases. So he's still got mileage left, I think.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, who would you rather have at shortstop? Because, Tatis was there. We had Ha-Seong Kim there. Of course, Manny could always play there, and then Jackson Merrill could play there.
And DeVries was supposed to be the future.
DeVries, and then Cronenworth can do it if you needed to. So, and by the way, he actually played pretty well near the end of the season at short. But you're right. You wish that money would have been allocated to a different place imagine if they got, Real Muto to be the catcher, or they got, some stud, left fielder that could be a pillar for this team.
They had one, James Wood, and they traded him.
And they had Jerks and Profar.
Yeah.
But, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're going to be looking in the rearview mirror for the next few months.
Okay, we move on. Thank you for joining us, Greg.
Okay, and go to Callan. He goes, hey, Saw, did you get to discuss McTavish and Lacombe's extensions with the Ducks?
We sure did. You're late. Where you been? I was part of the Hockey Hotline. Good acquisitions. mega contract extensions. I was really surprised that, they made Lacombe the highest paid player in the history of the Ducks. And that includes Niedermeyer, and that includes Getzlaff, Corey Perry. All the great Korea, all the Ducks of yesteryear. He got $9 million a year. Now he's a really good defenseman. They're ready. Anything short of an appearance in the playoffs, Callum, is not acceptable to me. They need to be in the playoffs because they have now paid their kids and they've traded and brought on big salary, especially Kreider and these guys who came from the Rangers. They look like they have every base covered from a talent level standpoint. They just got to go win. And they got a good coach in Joel Kenville.
Whenever they say Niedermeyer, and you just did, I get the image of that character from the Animal House movie.
Yes.
He was that prick in the other fraternity. Yeah. But at any rate, yeah, hockey season starting. What did you make of that comment in the booth during the Padres-Cubs game where who was it? Was it Kevin Brown talking about hockey?
I know Kevin Brown. He's from Syracuse. Mm-hmm. I talked to him a couple times. I was sitting there, I was actually multitasking. I was writing something on my website, and I heard him make some comment, and I didn't understand why suddenly he was making reference to hockey. And they asked Ben McDonald, they don't play hockey. The only ice they have is in the drinks in Louisiana.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, why would you bring hockey into this broadcast and asking him and then asking the women color analyst, and you got dumbass answers. So now the national media went haywire. Oh, Ben McDonald insulted everybody in the NHL. Well, first of all, that's on Kevin Brown. Why would you bring that up? Yes, ESPN said, we want you to promote in the middle of the TV broadcast the NHL package we just signed for.
Yeah.
Fine. Kevin Brown knows hockey. Just let Kevin do an ad lib.
Yeah.
About here comes Connor McDavid. It's opening night. You won't want to miss. Da 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 da. But don't drag them in here. And then I could see Ben McDonald looking at him and saying, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Because it didn't sound like he even had any idea what he was talking about. So,
well, when the broadcast crew was interesting. Of course, we would love to see Mud and Don up there.
Yeah.
But Kevin Brown's solid. That guy's voice and how he handles himself generally solid. You shouldn't have asked him about hockey. I agree.
He sounds like a young Joe Buck.
Yeah, he kind of does. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. McDonald, when I first was hearing him, sounds like James Carville, because of that Louisiana thing going on. And but I thought McDonald was very insightful and kind of funny at times. And then, some people, like some Padre fans, are like, oh, okay, here are the Padres. Oh, we get Jessica Mendoza on the broadcast. But I thought she was all right. Yeah, she does a good job.
Yeah, just get me to next week because I want to listen to Smoltz.
Oh, yeah. He's the guy who's like the scientist.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Callum.
Okay, let's go here to Jay Farrell. He goes, hey, there's a lot of talk that Preller may not even want to be back. It's not the same organization or job he signed up for anymore.
Well, if they're going to continue to take money back from the payroll, he's going to operate by a different set of standards than he did when Peter Seidler was there. So that'll be intriguing to see going forward, whether we wake up and whether he exits. I'd find it hard to believe that Grupner would fire Preller. Why would you do that? He's responsible for all this. Grupner's not responsible for the success on the field. It's Preller and his methodology. Now, you may want to refine the way he operates, the amount of money he spends. I understand all that. But where's Preller going to go? Colorado, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. Historically, all those people put all the money in the pocket. They don't spend it. So I don't know that Preller would be a fit there. So I hope not. At the end of the day, I reserve the right to invoke my talk show ideology. It's your fault. It's Preller's fault that this has become a raging success down in the Gaslamp Quarter.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's like this whole thing. Who's the scapegoat,
Well, in this case, I'm not sure. I'm not blaming Preller for the demise. I'm just saying you did so many creative things. You've created this aura, the importance of Padre baseball in our community. Now, you haven't gotten there. We haven't gotten the World Series yet, and the window is really closing.
Yeah, but, Preller,
he's brought it special.
Yeah, he's brought energy, enthusiasm, talent, big name stars, and thank God for Peter Seidler for kicking in the cash to do it. But you can't. You could I can see Preller moving on. Maybe he thinks his time is up. He's been here, for 10 years? 11? But, he's not the problem. I mean, yeah, he would have, could have, should have had this guy in a trade, but overall, he's far more upside than downside in all the deals.
It's been so much fun.
Yes, it is. So then the question is, who are you going to blame? Is it Schilt? People were questioning Schilt on some decisions, even in the regular season. Is he the problem? But then we were praising Schilt for his baseball IQ. I mean, the guys that are the real problem are Machado and Tatis and, Cronenworth and guys that just are not
producing to the contract they're being paid.
Yes. And the pitching wasn't the problem, but I kind of wonder how much gas is left in the tank with Yu Darvish.
Well, exactly. And then you got the health issue. I said first time I think I met you in the first couple podcasts, and we were pontificating. Look at this pitching staff and the rotation and the Snells and all that. And I remember distinctly looking at you and say, your pitching staff is never the same from year to year. And all these guys made 30-plus starts every year. That starts with Snell to Musgrove to Darvish, etc. The next year, they're not the same. The third year, a number of these guys are broken down, and a whole bunch of them are gone.
It's just funny how you're right.
Of course I'm right.
Yeah. I teed that one up for you. Okay, but you're right. Every year is a new year, right? Every year they assemble a new team. But it's funny how growing up with baseball, you get attracted and attached to certain players, and they're kind of with the team for a long time. You kind of have a relationship in a way, with a Machado or a Tatis or someone like that. But there's always new talent cycling in. I mean, I was watching the Tigers and Guardians game. Half of those guys, I didn't even know who the hell they were. I mean, I haven't even heard of them.
They're all farm system guys. I mean,
right, but they're good.
Well, they are. I mean, you can credit Detroit, and Detroit was bad for a long period of time, and yet they fixed this thing. I mean, the Riley Greens and the Kerry Carpenters of the world, those are pretty good established major leaguers. Any of them going to win MVP? No. Cleveland clawed their way up the mountain. That ownership runs a small budget operation, which pisses me off because that could be a great regional franchise in Northeast Ohio. But yet the Jose Ramirez's of the world and all these other young guys that they've got, those are all organizational kids, and they played in October. That's cool.
It is cool. Yeah. I mean, so the Padres are going to have to find some guys like that, that are going to, I mean, just like, the Dodgers have Pages, who kind of came up through their minors and has been productive.
The only difference is this general manager's traded them all away.
Yeah.
That's his currency.
Yeah, but we have Mason Miller for like 4 years. That dude. That guy's special.
I agree.
Okay. And I'm just to feed your ego, you're going to love this one. From Showtime LA goes, Sasaki looks like the closer. I got to admit, Lee, you were spot on about the bullpen outside of Trinan, Roki, and Vesia. Just got to pray.
Well, they're giving the ball. It'll be intriguing to see if they ask him to pitch back-to-back nights because he's never really ever done this before. You can come out and throw 15 pitches at 100 miles an hour, but if you have to come back the next night in the second game of that series, so that'll be intriguing to see. But I can't trust the other guys right now because every one of those guys has had some type of physical problem, and they just do not look like they're the same pitchers.
No. Yeah, I mean that's the Achilles heel for the Dodgers. At some point, that bullpen may blow up again, but right now, they kind of cruise through the Cincinnati Reds. Now it gets serious.
Yeah, the rubber meets the road in Philadelphia.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, let's get some social media in here. Squeeze a few in and. Let's talk about the Angels and Tyler Skaggs.
Yes.
From T.S. Jones. He goes, parents are in constant denial and apparently love to put blame on anyone but their son. They already put one guy in jail, and since then, it's been said by past teammates that they helped get Tyler Skaggs drugs too.
Well, this jury selection starts Monday, and then the testimony starts the middle or the end of next week. This is going to be emotional. It's going to be messy. A lot of blame goes around. The judge has been asked to rule on a whole bunch of motions about Tyler Skaggs' past drug usage while he was in Arizona. They're going to drag a whole bunch of players on the stand. I was told the witness list has got 53 names on it, and that includes stars. That includes Trout. That includes Pujols, who were in that clubhouse when Tyler Skaggs was there. Now, maybe they did not run the streets with Tyler Skaggs, but also includes pitchers who got drugs with Skaggs from Skaggs. It includes pitchers in Arizona who were deposed who said yes. He was addicted to Percocet painkillers when he pitched here because he had arm problems. And then you get into the bigger picture of things. The family never told the Angels that there was a drug addiction for Percocet. And then obviously Eric Kay, the public relations director who had drug history, was getting stuff from doctors, etc., and from the streets and selling it to players in that club. This story has tentacles that go so many different directions. I'm going to try to write about it on a day-by-day basis during the course of my website, but it's kind of messy.
It is messy, but I generally agree with T.S. Jones here, is that ultimately the blame is on Tyler Skaggs.
Yes, I think so.
Your life is your responsibility, and you got to, especially as a professional athlete, be managing what you put into your body. But it's a tragic case. It's just another thing with the Angels. It's just such a mess. But I kind of think that in a way wouldn't surprise me if the Skaggs family has got lawyers in their ear saying, "Oh, hey, we can get $860 million or whatever they're going to get on this deal."
$789 million is what they asked for.
Okay, that's what it was. So it seems like they're going for the deep pockets, to see what they can get. And poor Artie Moreno's sitting there like, "Geez, what could I have done differently?" It's a tough one.
It's a really sad commentary, and we'll see where the story goes. No out-of-court settlement. They are going to court. And as I said, jury selection begins on Monday. Okay, thank you for joining us.
Okay, let's talk some NFL. Chicago Bears with over easy. He goes, the Caleb Williams hate is astonishing. His rookie season, he is literally thrown into a fire on one of the worst teams in the league. Caleb had zero chance of success, and yet he still had a pretty impressive rookie season. Now entering his second year, he is trying to acclimate to his second head coach and third offensive coordinator in less than a year and a half. Give the kid a chance.
Got to refine his game. It can't be freelance football. You're going to get yourself killed doing freelance football. And yet, here in his second year, he's running around back there like it's USC or Oklahoma, and I can create something on the fly. He can't create a lot of stuff on the fly. There's not very many Patrick Mahomes out there. They're playing better offensively. Defensively, they're a disaster. They're giving up, I get the league stat package every week. They're giving up 390 yards a game in Chicago. The Bears? How's that possible? So Ben Johnson's got a lot of work to do, but he really competes. Now they got to refine him. Don't get yourself in trouble by trying to get out of trouble the first time. Go through your progressions or throw the ball away. Don't create. Next thing you know, you take an 18-yard sack. And you can't survive that way in the league, plus you take hits. So he's making progress. I think he's a great, great athlete, but boy, they got bigger problems. The defensive side of the football is just ridiculous.
What's that receiver's name came from Washington? It's like Rome Odunze or something like that. Yeah,
yes.
he's good.
Got to keep him healthy.
Yeah, they do. So I'm kind of rooting for Caleb Williams. I hope he does well. But, they're a non-factor this year, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in that NFL
division.
NFC North. I mean, that division's loaded. So hopefully they make some progress. I'm happy, for Ben Johnson getting his opportunity. I mean, did you see that little tiff he had with the sideline reporter?
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out what they were making a big deal out of it. Was the sideline reporter asking a question that was inappropriate, or did he respond inappropriately? Did you have a take on any of that?
I think the sideline reporter, she was asking a question of, why did you do this? And then maybe he took it wrongly, or I don't know. The interviews are so fast-paced. They got, coaches don't want to talk to you.
It's just
get it off.
Those interviews, they do them in baseball in the third inning with the managers, and they try to get 2 questions in, usually no more than 2, and then the whole time the coach is like, I want to get back to the game, And every once in a while you run into a coach that is
pretty good.
That just wants to talk, and meanwhile his team's having a huddle somewhere and he's not in it. I'm like, what are you doing, man? So, that game, the Raiders came out big in the first half, and then the Bears came back and won it.
Yeah, and the Raiders are just a mess in the offensive front. Like they lost their left tackle, Colton Miller, and he was the best of the group, and the rest of the group's not very good. And the Raiders have still got problems on the back seven defensively, too.
Yeah.
Max Crosby cannot do it by himself.
No. He needs more.
Yep. All right. Over easy. Thanks for being with us.
Okay. We're kind of bumping up against that 2-hour mark, but let's squeeze this one in. And this was a good comment from our buddy Joe Barr. He responds to a lot of comments talking about who do you think is the best Game 7 guy you'd pitch? And he said,
that's not a bad call.
Bob Gibson. How do we forget his name? Bob Gibson made 9 World Series starts. He had 8 complete games, 7-2 win-loss record, 1.89 ERA, and 92 strikeouts in 81 innings in a contact era. I'll take him to start Game 7.
Yeah, not a bad call whatsoever. And again, that's a different era.
Yeah.
Really different era.
It really is. I mean, they had to, lower the mound because of him.
He was so dominant.
Yeah, so it was just like slightly before my time. But so I just get to see some of the, the replays of it. And that was at the 68 World Series, Cardinals, Tigers.
Yep.
And who was the Tigers pitcher that went to jail?
Lolich.
Mickey
Lolich?
Well, Lolich, but there was a pitcher that went to jail. It was like McLean or something like that.
Denny McLean won 30 games.
Yeah. So that was that era, that late 60s. I was just a few years old at that time. But, Bob Gibson, what a stud.
See, if you had taken my advice when you were in St. Louis, I told this man he's going to St. Louis, he wanted to go in the Arch and all that, and he wanted to see Busch Stadium. I said, it's fabulous. But right there at Busch Stadium, it's the St. Louis Cardinals, St. Louis Browns, Hall of Fame. I said, you got to go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, the displays on Gibson are phenomenal. The display on the 1944 St. Louis Browns, who got to the World Series, was one of the worst teams of all time and got to the World Series. But not John. John's got to go somewhere else. He's got to have pork chops for dinner in a restaurant. So all the restaurants in St. Louis are great. He never got to the Cardinal Browns Hall of Fame.
We only have so much time. We also toured the Budweiser brewery over there, Anheuser-Busch. That stadium in St. Louis is sweet. Yep. I mean, it's really nice.
Right downtown, too.
Yeah, they got all these, the statues of all the former players. It's wonderful.
The of the world, yes.
But the museum that I really liked there was the museum that's underground, underneath the arch. Mm-hmm. And it was all about, westward expansion in America, and it was fascinating. I mean, I could have spent a whole day down there. But yeah, St. Louis, the barbecue is pretty good.
It's a hell of a city. It really is. Listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast again. We're normally on Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. We had technical problems on Monday. Technology's great till it's not great. We got it solved. We decided we'd push the start. God, look at how many people were with us on live stream. Just amazing. Push the start back tonight coming out of Padre Baseball. We'll be back here Monday at 1:30. I'm going to be on the road. We're going to challenge the new technology. We're going to see if we can do this from my cottage in the northern Adirondacks where it's getting cold already. But we're going to do a 2-city hookup this coming Monday. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. John, take a deep breath. I'll wait for you to write a column on my website about fans' perspective. That's it, from left field. John Riley from left field on Padre Baseball. I have to write a column on my website.
Yeah, so you can go sit in your big Adirondack chair right there up in northern New York. Right there during the time of the change of colors. You're going to have a good time.
And bloody cold, too. 32 degrees at night already up there.
Just make sure you have good Wi-Fi. We'll be fine.
We'll try. Hey, thank you for being with us. Always great to have you part of our team. We'll see you come Monday. Enjoy the great sports weekend on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.